Coach Prime is rebuilding Colorado with urgency, and the strategies being used in Boulder reflect what's unfolding in Cleveland around Shedeur Sanders. Just like his father's program is targeting trench strength and run defense through the transfer portal, the Browns are eyeing roster integrity around their rising QB. It's a parallel story. Careful talent acquisition, relentless internal standards, and a refusal to chase quick fixes. The Sanders name now echoes across two programs undergoing deep transformations. If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed. And both are betting on him as the centerpiece. The Browns' current draft and free agency moves point toward building a sustainable offensive foundation. Whether it's adding offensive line strength or optimizing skill positions, these decisions signal long-term thinking. Shedeur's growth is no longer a hopeful story. It's now the compass by which Cleveland is charting their path. Shedeur Sanders just pulled ahead in the Browns' quarterback race, and it's not even close anymore. After months of being seen as a developmental prospect, insiders are finally acknowledging what's been in plain sight. Sanders isn't just holding his own, he's standing out. Reports coming out of Cleveland are glowing, with one insider stating flatly that Sanders has shown enough to be viewed as the frontrunner for the starting job. This isn't coming out of nowhere. Sanders has been quietly stacking up progress ever since he got in the building. There's a level of poise and precision to his play that's hard to ignore, especially for someone who didn't come in with the same draft buzz as others. From his reps in practice to the limited snaps he's gotten, the consistency is what's catching everyone's attention. In the Browns' matchup against the Steelers, Sanders made the most of every opportunity. While he wasn't expected to lead the offense, what he did with the snaps, he got turned heads. Clean mechanics, confident reads, and most importantly, results. It wasn't flashy, but it was effective. And in a franchise that's been desperately looking for stability under center, that alone is a standout trait. This wasn't a game that was supposed to shift narratives, but it did. The conversation started to change after that performance. Whispers turned into statements. Maybe this guy really is the answer. When you're able to step up in a game like that and handle the pressure with maturity, it speaks volumes. That's what Sanders did, and people noticed. The shift wasn't just felt on the field. Sanders' demeanor during press interactions sealed the perception shift. No ego, no theatrics, just straight answers and accountability. He's talked about the work he's putting in and how he's focused on learning the system, building chemistry, and doing whatever it takes to contribute. It's clear that the coaching staff values that approach. Insiders have specifically pointed out how coachable he is. For a young quarterback, that's one of the highest compliments you can get. The maturity he brings to the table sets him apart, especially in a league that often sees young talent buckle under pressure or expectations. Instead, Sanders is leaning in. He's embracing the grind, and it's earning him respect behind the scenes. The Browns' quarterback situation hasn't exactly been a model of consistency in recent years. The carousel has spun through veterans, draft picks, and trade experiments, and none of them have brought lasting results. Against that backdrop, the emergence of Shedeur Sanders isn't just a storyline. It's a potential pivot point for the entire franchise. Insiders are connecting the dots. Cleveland's draft strategy and recent quarterback evaluations suggest they've been actively searching, testing, and reevaluating talent under center. But now, actions speak louder than words. The lack of urgency to bring in other QBs this offseason and the increasing confidence around Sanders signals a shift in priorities. This isn't a stopgap anymore. This looks like a commitment in progress. Head coach Kevin Stefanski hasn't come out with a declaration yet, but the tone of his recent comments gives away more than he might realize. He's praised Sanders' preparation and growth without overhyping it, and that kind of measured acknowledgement is telling. Coaches don't hand out compliments unless they mean them, especially when it comes to quarterbacks. Stefanski is known for being methodical. If he's putting Sanders in position to succeed, it means the staff sees potential worth investing in. Development isn't accidental. Sanders' increased reps, involvement in more complex plays, and deeper integration with the starting offense all point to a trajectory that aligns with one thing: starter status. Back at the college level, the conversation around Coach Prime's Colorado team is just as urgent, but for different reasons. The rebuild is officially underway, and the focus is sharp. The trenches, offensive and defensive line play has been a liability, and Prime has made it clear that fixing that is priority number one. Colorado's struggles to stop the run last season were glaring. Teams consistently gashed them for major yardage, and that can't continue if they want to be competitive. Coach Prime's transfer portal strategy reflects that urgency. He's hunting for physical, experienced linemen who can make an immediate impact, not just depth starters. The portal isn't just a wish list. It's a necessity. The way Coach Prime approaches recruiting has changed because the clock is ticking. Building through freshmen takes time, and Colorado needs help now. That's why the portal is being treated like a war room. Analysts, assistants, and scouts are going after size, toughness, and experience with laser focus. And it's not just about defense. Protecting the quarterback, whoever it ends up being next season, is just as critical. Colorado's offensive line was overmatched too often last year, and that exposed their entire game plan. Prime knows that the skill players can only do so much if the line can't hold up. That's why both sides of the line are being targeted. When you look at the college football playoff picture, one thing stands out. Elite quarterback play is a common denominator. Teams like Ole Miss are proof. Their quarterback isn't just good, he's a game changer. That level of talent elevates an entire roster. It hides weaknesses, creates mismatches, and keeps teams in games they'd otherwise lose. For Colorado, this is the bar. Prime knows how to compete at the highest level. He needs a quarterback like that and the structure to support him. That's why the trenches matter so much. You can't maximize a star QB without a line to protect him and a defense that can get off the field. It's not just about flash. It's about balance and depth. Prime's strategy is layered. He's not just going after names. He's chasing fit. Guys transferring for more playing time or nil money are now part of the game, and Coach Prime is navigating that landscape aggressively. He understands what motivates players now and is leveraging that to reshape Colorado's culture and competitiveness. The defense, in particular, needs a new identity. Last year's unit couldn't hold up when it mattered, and that exposed them against every top-tier opponent. Run defense is where it starts. That's why the focus on interior linemen and linebackers from the portal is so critical. They need players who've seen real action and can bring leadership as well as talent. Both the Browns and Colorado are trying to do the same thing in different arenas. Build a winner. For the Browns, it's about finding stability and leadership under center. And with Shedeur Sanders, that picture is finally coming into focus. For Colorado, it's about building from the inside out, restructuring the lines, solidifying the defense, and building toward a playoff-caliber roster. And in both cases, it's about execution. The plans are in place. The targets are clear, and now it comes down to whether the right pieces fall into place. There's no magic formula, but the foundation being built through the draft, free agency, and transfer portal suggests both programs are on the path towards something better. If you've been following Shedeur's rise or are rooting for Coach Prime to pull off another rebuild miracle, now's the time to weigh in. Drop your thoughts in the comments, share the video, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's next in this wild ride of football transformations. For Shedeur Sanders, this isn't about hype, it's about validation. Every step he's taken in Cleveland so far has been deliberate. From his first practice to his recent performances, there's been a steady climb. He didn't walk in expecting anything to be handed to him. He understood the perception. Maybe he was just Coach Prime's kid. But he shut all of that down with work ethic and execution. The people inside the building aren't just throwing praise around. They're watching every snap, every adjustment, every breakdown in the film room. And when they start talking about a young QB as ahead of schedule, it means something, especially when it's in a franchise that's been chasing quarterback stability for what feels like forever. When Sanders steps behind the mic, he doesn't sound like a rookie trying to find his footing. He speaks with clarity, with purpose, and, maybe most importantly, without excuses. He's acknowledged what still needs improvement, whether it's timing, pocket movement, or communication. But he always circles back to the same point. He's here to lead, That kind of mindset is infectious. It sets the tone in the locker room and builds trust with the staff. The quarterback position isn't just about arm talent. It's about presence. And Sanders is starting to carry himself like a leader. That's not something you can fake. And that's part of why the Browns are leaning in. They don't see him as a placeholder. They see potential they want to build around. The Browns' track record at quarterback has been, let's just say, turbulent. For years, fans have watched the team cycle through options with very little payoff. There were draft picks that fizzled, trades that flopped, and free agent signings that looked good on paper but never translated on the field. So when someone like Sanders starts getting attention, there's understandable skepticism, but also cautious optimism. That's why this moment feels different. It's not about another shot in the dark. It's about seeing tangible growth. The Browns aren't just impressed with what Sanders could be. They're seeing what he is. That's a major shift. He's gone from being evaluated to being trusted. And that's a hard-earned transition. Kevin Stefanski's tone lately has been quietly revealing. He doesn't come out with bold declarations, but he doesn't need to. When a coach starts referring to a quarterback's leadership and command over the offense in casual conversation, that's a signal. Stefanski is laying the groundwork without overhyping the story, and that's how you know it's real. He's also been clear about what matters most: consistency, decision-making, and preparation. And those are exactly the areas where Sanders is delivering. Every quarterback in the league can throw. The question is, can you run the system, keep the offense moving, and avoid the backbreaking mistakes? So far, Sanders is showing he can. The Steelers game will likely be a key reference point if Sanders ends up starting Week 1. It wasn't just that he performed well. It was how he handled the moment. He wasn't rattled. He wasn't rushed. And he didn't play like someone just trying to survive. He made throws that mattered, moved the chains, and played within the structure of the offense. It's those quiet, efficient games that sometimes tell you more than a highlight reel. Coaches want to know if they can trust you in tight games, against real pressure and with limited room for error. That performance gave them that trust, or at least started to. And once you earn a coach's trust, the door to starting opens wider. Meanwhile, over in Colorado, Coach Prime isn't easing up. The pressure to deliver is real, and he's made it clear. This offseason is going to be about size, speed, and experience. Colorado isn't going to rely solely on young, untested players anymore. That phase is over. Now it's about winning games, and that means getting veteran talent through the transfer portal. The rebuild isn't cosmetic. It's not about slogans or headlines. Prime knows exactly what's been missing: physical dominance on the line of scrimmage. Until that's fixed, nothing else really works. So, the staff is going after trench players like it's draft day every day. They're calling, pitching, and hustling for every name in the portal that can help. The formula is clear. Find the gaps, plug them with players who can contribute immediately, and build a team that doesn't fold in the second half. Colorado saw way too many games last season slip away because the lines got pushed around. That's what they're changing. There's also a strategic understanding here. Prime isn't throwing darts. He's looking at who transferred, why they transferred, and what role they could realistically play. Some players want more playing time. Some want a bigger spotlight. Some are moving for nil deals. Whatever the reason, Colorado is becoming a top destination because Prime offers all of it. The pressure on Colorado isn't just internal. The broader college football world is watching too. After all the noise from last season, the highs, the lows, the media frenzy, this year is about results. And no one understands that better than Coach Prime. He's treating this offseason like a second chance to reset the tone. That's why so much attention is going to both sides of the ball. Offensively, they need better protection, more balance, and a line that can create real running lanes. Defensively, they need size and experience, especially up front. Prime's already stated that stopping the run is non-negotiable, because if you can't stop the run, you can't control the game. Just look at Old Mississippi. They're one of the clearest examples of how a quarterback can elevate an entire program. Their signal caller has been dominant, and it's not just about stats. It's the way he takes over games. He makes the tough throws, he escapes pressure, and he leads. That's the blueprint. It's what every team is trying to find or replicate. Colorado wants that. They know what it looks like because they've seen it up close. Prime had that with Shedeur at the college level before, and now he's trying to build the infrastructure to support someone like that again. The lesson from Ole Miss is simple. Quarterback play matters, but it only truly shines when the rest of the team is ready. So where does this leave both stories? For Shedeur Sanders, he's gone from being Coach Prime's son to a legitimate starting quarterback candidate in Cleveland. And for Colorado, Prime is setting the stage for a new era, one defined by depth, toughness, and experience. The rebuild is still in motion, but the vision is sharper than ever. Both programs are doing what successful teams do, evaluating honestly and acting aggressively. It's about more than talent. It's about fit, leadership, and timing. And whether it's the Browns looking for their next franchise QB or Colorado searching for balance and muscle in the trenches, the moves being made right now will define their futures. The conversation around Shedeur Sanders has moved past potential. It's now about presence. Every time his name gets brought up in team circles, it comes with a different tone, one that sounds a lot more like belief than speculation. This is no longer a developmental curve. This is a case of real momentum building in real time. It's not just about reps or preseason glimpses anymore. It's about how the people around him are reacting. When a young quarterback earns the respect of veterans, guys who've been in the league long enough to spot the real deal from a mile away, that says something. Sanders is getting that respect now. He's stepping into leadership, and the locker room is responding. Kevin Stefanski is clearly watching this all unfold with a calculated eye. Every move he makes, every quote he drops, it's all part of a larger picture. He's seen enough quarterback drama to know how quickly hype can collapse. But what he's seeing from Shedeur is different. It's measured, it's controlled, and most importantly, it's consistent. The Browns aren't rushing anything, but the decisions they're making around Sanders are telling their own story. More responsibility, more communication with the first-team offense, more layers being added to the playbook. That's not what you do for a long-shot backup. That's what you do when you're grooming your starter. Fans have seen this team flirt with promise before. False starts, flash-in-the-pan moments, but this time feels more grounded. The mistakes of the past, whether it was swinging too hard in the draft or banking on short-term fixes, seem to be informing a new approach. And that's what makes the Sanders trajectory feel credible. It's less about hype, more about habits. The Browns are watching how he handles setbacks, how he responds to adjustments, and how he grows within the system. So far, the trajectory is steady, and that's exactly what they need after years of instability at the most important position on the field. Over in Boulder, Coach Prime is playing a different but equally strategic game. He's not just coaching, he's orchestrating. The transfer portal has turned into a full-blown chess match, and Prime is 3 moves ahead. He's not waiting for the right pieces to fall into place. He's going out and finding them. That urgency isn't based on panic. It's based on standards. Prime wants a win now, not next decade. And that means overhauling the weakest units first. Colorado's trenches didn't just need a touch-up, they needed a transformation. That's why the current recruiting push is laser-focused on finding plug-and-play linemen with size, grit, and experience. There's also a shift in how Prime is selling the program. He's not leaning solely on brand anymore. He's selling opportunity and development. 2 things every serious athlete wants. If you're transferring, you're likely doing it for one of 2 reasons: more snaps or more visibility. At Colorado, you can get both. He's also leaning into culture. The message is clear. If you come here, you're expected to work. The portal isn't just a shortcut to wins. It's a tool for rebuilding identity. Prime's building a roster that mirrors his values. Fast, physical, and unapologetically competitive. The names coming in reflect that vision, and the energy around the program is shifting. But make no mistake, Colorado still has ground to cover. Last season exposed just how much needs to be rebuilt. The defense couldn't close games, and the offensive line struggled to hold up. That's why Prime's current moves are less about big names and more about substance. He wants players who've been battle-tested, guys who can come in and change the tone, not just a depth chart. The goal is clear: compete. not just show up and put on a show. Prime wants his team to get stops, extend drives, and wear opponents down in the trenches, because that's how games are won. And it's the only way to hang with the powerhouses that currently dominate the playoff conversation. Of dominance, it's impossible to ignore how programs like Ole Miss are thriving. They've built around their quarterback like a fortress. He's got protection, playmakers, and a defense that doesn't make his job harder. It's the full package, and it's working. That model is what Colorado's chasing. You don't need 5-star recruits at every position, but you do need structure. And quarterbacks, no matter how talented, can't perform when they're getting hit on every other down. That's the biggest takeaway for Colorado. If you want a quarterback to take over games, you better give him the tools to survive them first. What's happening now is the hard part, laying the foundation. That means taking the time to get the line right, to stabilize the defense, and to build chemistry across the board. It's not flashy. It's not always headline-worthy. But it's what separates contenders from chaos. And that's where both Shedeur Sanders and Coach Prime's teams intersect. Whether at the NFL level or college, the formula is the same, build from the inside out. Quarterbacks can lead, but they can't carry a broken roster. Prime gets that. Stefanski gets that. And right now, both are playing a long game. You can feel the shift when Shedeur speaks now. It's not just about his own development. It's about how he sees the field, how he studies opponents, and how he anticipates pressure. That kind of mental edge is what makes the leap from college to pro football. It's the difference between getting by and leading a team. He's not getting caught up in the noise. No one in Cleveland is handing him anything. But that's what makes this moment significant. He's earning every inch. And people are starting to believe this isn't just a flash. It's a fit. That's a rare thing in this league. And Sanders is grabbing it with both hands. The Steelers game gave fans a glimpse, but for the Browns staff, it gave confirmation. You could see it in the post-game reviews, the practice rotations that followed, and the way Stefanski talked about him afterward. This wasn't just a trial, it was a test. And Sanders didn't just pass, he made a statement. Where it all goes next depends on how he closes out the offseason. But if this trend continues, Shedeur Sanders won't just be the Browns' future, he might be their present. If you're ready to see Shedeur take the reins or watching every move Coach Prime makes in Colorado, drop your take in the comments. Hit that like, pass this along to your crew, and don't forget to subscribe, because this ride is just getting started.